Hey everyone, it's Dr. Rick. And I'm sorry I haven't posted in the last 2 weeks. I've just been so inundated with work, and in a good way. Now, if you follow me on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, sometimes when I'm busy at work or frustrated because of the system, meaning the electronic medical records, or something else with the politics of working for a large organization, being busy usually means being stressed out. And that's not what I'm talking about now. I've walked away from a 5-year gig with Advocate Medical Group in Bartlett a year ago today, September 3rd, 2020. And it was, if you're a doctor and you're used to working and making a living, you probably, unless you're a plastic surgeon or somebody that doesn't really take insurance, you probably are going to be embedded with some concept of insurance and dealing with seeing patients, but knowing that you have to answer to the rules and regulations of medical insurance. And they are really, the scaffolding for medical insurance as far as how to get your payment as a doctor or as a business is terrible. It's built to not give you as much as you deserve. That's just the insurance company, and it has to be. So the problem I see is that doctors want to be caring and philanthropic, and usually most of my colleagues will compromise their time with their patients, which is ultimately the cherished time that really is rewarding, is usually when I open the door, greet the patient, and walk in. That's when most doctors really, we're in our element. And if you have, I'm not saying you need unlimited time. That doesn't sound like a good business model either. If you get paid $80 and you spend 3 hours with one patient, that's not going to pay for the typical bills that are involved with running a medical practice, malpractice, staffing, overhead, all that other stuff. And I'm not talking about making money. I'm just talking about breaking even. So the business model as far as being a doctor sucks. And I don't know who's taking advantage of that, but the idea I have is I want to just heal people and be involved. There's a dopamine rush every time a patient conquers something. If you're a trainer and you see a patient either break a personal record or hit a max lift or cut down in weight or be successful with hitting a goal, it is such a turn on. And I think that as humans, when that dopamine hits the brain, floods the brain, you get that signal to always repeat that and keep on, as a trainer, coach, or lifestyle expert or doctor, you want to keep on doing that because it is such a reward. Now, if you have that and then you overlay it with, well, you got to keep up because you're not going to make any money, or you know that the longer you spend to get that reward, the less income you bring home to your family. It doesn't make sense. So I am happy at this point because I don't take insurance, and it gives me freedom to spend time. The model that I run, Herbal 411, is not making a lot of money, but it's supporting at least the bills to keep my equipment and have a place to go, an office. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate my warriors. I've had a select group of warriors that have followed me since I left, and it's building up steam. So my group is growing, which is really honorable. I can't tell you how happy I am and honored I am to take care of people and know that what I do is right. Because honestly, since Central DuPage Hospital and Rush Copley and Advocate, I've been told by the business side I am not right and everything I do is wrong. And that's just such an insult. But again, that's negated because my patients, I see outcomes. And when outcomes occur and they're positive, again, dopamine burst, I will do that over and over again. So I really appreciate and honor all of my patients that are following me. Anybody on YouTube that's also subscribing, I honor you too, because of you guys subscribing to me and following me, it says that I'm doing the right thing. So anyway, bottom line is I haven't been on for a while, but I'm going to be throwing a couple videos today. My practice, Herbal 411, is mostly virtual. Who would have thought that a medical practice can be virtual, but that's the way it goes now, and I still will have better outcomes than my friends, my colleagues who are doing standard medicine. I have no problems with what my colleagues do and how they do it. I think they're using the system to survive, see patients, and do the best they can. But there's the other doctors that are necessary, like what I do. And if I can help and be a specialist as far as lifestyle change, I'll do it, because the medical model is not going away. The classic idea with ivermectin now being so or at least the concept of use of ivermectin in COVID being so polarized, not only with the laymen but also with doctors, is fascinating. There's a social experiment going on, and I think people are aware now because of the social media. You can't hide a lot of information. Before you could, and you'd have information that was skewed, so most people would just buy the information that's given to them by the authority. Nowadays, people question authority, especially millennials, so thank you, millennials. They question authority, and I guess every generational hippies or X-gens, everybody questions authority, but now with the power of social media, you can really dive. If you know how to read and research, you can dive down deep and get just as robust the information as the authority is using. So the only problem is that some people are easily swayed. So if you have a loud enough social media presence, then a lot of people will just follow the loudest voice. You have to be researching on your own. You have to know, I might do a video on that, but you have to know about what's evidence-based and how to interpret evidence-based, and then risk to benefit ratio. I mean, if you're gonna eat a kiwi versus a peanut or something of that nature, you don't really need $1 million randomized controlled trial. So there's a hierarchy of evidence that we follow as doctors. You guys don't have to worry about that, but you have to follow somebody that can shortcut that and give it to you in black and white. And sometimes if the guys like me and other people, Mercola, know that and serve that way to be the interpreters of data, but then legs are chopped down. I already had a post taken away, a couple posts taken away at Facebook, and I've had YouTube videos blocked. I'm such a rebel. It was because of medical cannabis, and now it seems to be because of ivermectin. So, I mean, bring it. I don't care. So, bottom line is that my quantum shift at this point in time is taking me to a really cool place. I probably should have done this 15 years ago, but it's so threatening and to step off the cliff of having a paycheck. And I think with lay people who, or if you're in the medical field, you should know that when you get a huge paycheck after you're done your training, it's very enticing, because you can think, oh, I can pay off this, I can pay off that, I'm going to sign, I'll be set for life. But what you don't realize is that you're indentured at that point in time to follow the rules, and the algorithm is built to serve medical insurance. The algorithm is honestly not built to serve the patient-doctor relationship. It's there, but it is just so obscure or bastardized that we have to, the concept of healing somebody has to fall into an algorithm. In fact, the other day, I also do some work for friends of mine who gave me a chance and helped me with establishing my business. Well, I established my business, but I needed some regular income. So I have friends who had trusted me, and I'm still doing work in that sense. And so I haven't gone away from the usual, and the usual is 15-minute visits. To break even, you have to have quick. You have to have multiple visits. You don't have to make them 5 minutes. I've seen doctors who do 5-minute visits and 10-minute visits. Those are like the cardiologists that walk in and walk out, and I don't agree with that. And a lot of my patients don't either, but when my patients speak up and say, wait a minute, doc, I have questions, and they force them to look in the eye and wait for a second or pause, then the doctors usually pay attention. And that's a shame that you have to really speak up to slap into effect, hey, I'm a human, I want more detail than just, you're fine, go home. Go back to your primary care doctor, because I've told you that story before with the cardiologist of my daughter. I wanted him to at least counsel her or guide her to make healthy lifestyle change, and the guy just walked in and walked out, and I was like, what the hell is that? That was so rude. So anyway, that's the gist of Western medicine, and that's what you'll get unless you speak up or you have somebody that will be an advocate for you. And I have a couple of cancer patients who have fallen through the cracks in the regular merry-go-round, and it's a shame. I had to kind of bring them back this way to give them hope, or at least give them a concept of what we should do. Because if you fall out of the algorithm, either you're a bad patient or you're not going to make it, you're too diseased. And that's what it is. You have to, like doctors who get big paychecks, you have to follow the algorithm. You have to be indentured. Well, your patients too. Your patients have to also follow the algorithm your doctors are following, and plan on having these tiny visits, these tiny quips, to somehow daisy chain all these things all together to come out with a healthy lifestyle. So those of you who work on cars, you can fix one thing at a time on an old car to make it better. Classic car, you keep on going back every weekend. You work on a carburetor, then you work on a suspension, then you work on the interior, then you work on other things in the engine. You can keep on doing that for many, many, many years. Or you can do it the right way and invest all at once and have a team overseen by a mechanic, head mechanic, to get the thing done. So is there an importance with speed in putting together an old classic car? No. Is there an importance with speed in healing disease? Yes. If you take care of only diabetes first and let the obesity and the high blood pressure and the anxiety and the bowels that are irritable go later, and then hopefully control that, but then move on to the next thing, and then you move on to the next thing. If you do that, usually the first two things go out of whack, and then the next couple things are staying out of whack. So you constantly have a whack-a-mole. So if you try to put your finger in one hole in the dam that's leaking, the others will sprout faster. You have to kind of put all fingers in, and that is not what Western medicine does. Western medicine does one finger at a time. Integrative medicine, I believe, the way I practice it, we do this, and you have a higher chance of success. Now, all my visits are like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and I'm not just talking about weather. I'm actively using every minute, every second to create a story, scaffolding, and then create ultimately another plan. If I can't make lifestyle changes, then why? That's not fun for me. I'm not just going to refill medicines. I'm going to get people off medicines, hopefully, and get to a healthier lifestyle. So that's where my quantum shift is going at this point in time. And it was down here. Now, a year later, it's leveling off. I anticipate it'll grow even further with the COVID thing. And I'm going to say ivermectin a couple times just to see if this video gets taken off. But with the medical cannabis that popped up, supported my clinic and channel, and then it kind of flattened out a little bit, but I'm still getting boomers, and I'm investing in businesses that will take medical cannabis in Illinois to the next level, especially in the patient interface. So that's supporting me. Now it's got ivermectin, so the more the basic hospitals push away, I guess the busier I'll be, which has always been the case. So I think people have to follow the rules as far as insurance. So don't feel bad if you can't see me. But people also have to understand that if you don't make lifestyle changes, you'll go deeper and deeper into that rabbit hole of medical insurance disease. And it's a disease in itself, probably. But so please always strive to honor what your doctor is giving you, question, and learn how to research properly evidence-based medicine, peer-reviewed journals, and if it doesn't sit right with you, listen to that inner message and that inner check engine light to maybe question authority, or at least listen to what your body is saying. If you're being given a pill and you swell up or you vomit, then that pill is telling, your body's telling you that pill doesn't work for you. If you go past a dark alley and the dark alley has a bunch of clangy metal noises down the dark alley, your body says don't go down that dark alley. So you have intuition about what's positive, what's negative, what will help you, what will harm you. I think it's valuable, and I think in Western medicine we tell people don't listen to your intuition, just listen to me, which is totally wrong. What we have to do with integrative medicine is be a team. You use me, you plug into my knowledge base, and then we accelerate your success. So that's the way I run my practice. And even though medical cannabis doesn't want to be handled by doctors, obviously the evidence is showing that it's safe. And the evidence might not be those randomized controlled trials that everybody that is poo-pooing ivermectin is calling for. The evidence might be just long-standing use of ivermectin with very limited disease or side effects, especially in kids. Is the dose different? Definitely. But, I mean, penicillin has been penicillin. Lasix is a horse pill, but it's also a human pill. In fact, I think it was a human pill first. Penicillin is a horse pill, but it's also a human pill. Everybody takes penicillin. Ivermectin is a horse pill, but it's also a human pill. And I haven't researched, I believe it has been for humans before it was for animals. But then why is the media saying horse pill when Lasix and penicillin and many other blood pressure medicines are also used for horses? That's so discriminatory. This is such a social media experiment, unbelievable, and you can't hide it. The government can't hide it, but I have the feeling that they pay a lot of people to anticipate how to control the media release. And the last thing I'll say is that I'm sure, ivermectin, I'm sure that there is a company taking ivermectin, manipulating the formula, molecular structure, so that they can patent it. I bet you in the next 6 to 12 months, somebody's going to come out with a look-alike that they've patented. And then at that point in time, you won't need the booster anymore, because then there'll be a treatment of choice available for the disease process. If there's no treatment for a disease process, then you can have Emergency Authorization Act enacted. If there is a treatment, you can't give an Emergency Authorization Act. So ivermectin is not a treatment, thus the vaccines work. And we're very vaccine-centric. And that could be more in the conspiracy theory part, but that's my evaluation, is that that's what's happening. Because the safety data for ivermectin, not counting dose, and the safety value is there. In fact, there is a Nobel Prize given for the discovery of ivermectin. So where's that being looked at now? And not for horses. The Nobel Prize was given for ivermectin for humans, not for horses. So anyway, I'm getting more into a rant, but thank you for following me. And if you want, you can go to if you are just looking for ivermectin, I can see patients. I have an ivermectin clinic, and if you go to my YouTube chat or my Herbal 411 page, top of the page, you'll see the links to new patient consults. I have several packages that patients seek me out for and with. And one is a single consult, then that's fine. Or I have an annual membership that is locked in price, will not change, because I honor my patients who invested in me. I might stop that. In fact, I will stop that at a certain level, because I can't take on too many patients. I have to honor and give time to the people that have supported me. So the annuals, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. and I will support you and not change that price. So going forward 10 years, if you continue to want to see me annually, your price stays locked. The one-time visits that I have, they will probably go up. As my time becomes more valuable with my patients, especially the warriors, the annuals, I might have to increase the price because I won't have as much time. My attention is dedicated to the people that followed me. Anybody else new, I do have a COVID clinic for 3 months straight. We are having difficulty with finding ivermectin, but there are other states that do have pharmacies that can ship out everywhere. So also Canada. Anyway, if that's your case, then fine. If you are medical cannabis interested for your disease process but need a coach, that I can do that too. So I'm such a rebel with what I do, but this is the path I'm taking, and I still am able to serve. And thank God I'm able to manage paying the bills and keeping the lights on. But it's all because of you guys, because of the successes that you are going through that keeps me engaged. The dopamine hits are responsible for me making me find this path and stay on this path. And maybe the opposite is true too. Dopamine, when it's released in the brain, is a hormone that tells you and pats you on the back and gives you a reward, a good feeling that this is a proper thing that you're doing. Whatever you did, do it again. That's the genetic hardwiring. Now, there is something called acetylcholine, the opposite. And if you, like, I just took a bunch of guys to Colorado to do a couple 14ers, 14,000 foot mountains, and man, was that tough, but it was also rewarding. But there's a couple of times on the last mountain, Mount Evans, when I was following the trail in trail finding, and it's like, okay, we're almost there, parking lot. No. And that's such a letdown to think you're almost going to be done, and then it's like, shoot. So that, at that moment, acetylcholine is being released in my brain to do the opposite of what dopamine does. Acetylcholine says, don't ever do that again. So I'm not going to go down that pathway because it's wrong. So I keep on going down the right pathway. So there's a positive response with dopamine that keeps me engaged and keeps me loving what I'm doing. There's a negative response with acetylcholine telling me, do not ever take medical insurance again or work for another corporation. So that's where I'm at. I'll keep on posting. Hopefully I'll be able to keep it a little shorter, but don't forget to subscribe to me on my YouTube channel, or if you are interested in seeing me as an integrated medicine patient, Herbal 411, new patient consult. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you, followers. This is going to be a cool journey. The evolution, it's so polarized now that I see where some of my previous integrated medicine doctors and concierge doctors are going, and I see the value of it, and I recognize the value of it. But as long as the value comes in that my time with a patient is undaunted, I still have to keep it within the realm of time. But because of how I do things, I think an hour and a half to 2 hours is a great window of opportunity. And again, for every meeting to be fruitful and every plan to be successful in getting you to a better lifestyle change, more so than seeing you for a cough one day and then a month later a sore throat, and then a month later a sprained neck, and then for a month later anxiety. I just don't think that whack-a-mole concept works for people. It'll work to keep you on your medicines for a long time, but to change, the motivation doesn't really carry to change life when you have to keep on going back to the doctor's office and have this interrupted conversation over the long haul, fixing the jalopy over every weekend of 5 to 10 year gap. You're going to lose interest sooner or later, versus kind of going all in, figuring crap out now and having that dopamine hit to not only support the doctor, but to support you on the change. So thank you very much. I'm sorry it's a little long-winded. Good to see you all again, and be prepared. 2022, I turned 60 years old, and that'll be even better. But so thank you for following me on my journey. I'll see you at the next video.